Hi, everybody. It's a beautiful day. Finally got my phone back. Um, so no more S7. Yay. And of course, everything got reset, which kind of ticks me off. I mean, they told me to back up my phone, so that because they said I needed to back it up. But still, even when you back it up, it's still like wait for everything to download, and then like my ringtones weren't there, and it was just ugh, it was a mess. And then the freaking screen protector I got was just crap. Just hate it. So, here lately, these are my actual nails. And I've already got, let's see, can you see it? I've already got where I've scratched a little bit. I'm trying not to. I'm really trying not to. And I'm trying not to actually put on fake nails. So, I'll consider it um, my own personal jihad that I will not pick at my nails. I will try my best. Because that's what a jihad is. It's not necessarily war or anything like that. It's a personal battle, and doesn't necessarily have to do with anything. I saw a Facebook thing today. Is like liberals are saying that that Muslims are offended by the American flag, so we shouldn't show it. And I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm a liberal or a conservative. Well, I probably am a liberal. I don't know. I don't think I'm rich enough to be a liberal or a conservative because I mean, really, most of us don't have to make we just have to make decisions for ourselves. We don't have anybody else's lives in our hands. So, we're only responsible for us, and all that really matters to us is um, do I have food? Do I have shelter? Are my kids safe? Am I safe? That's really all anybody worries really really wants. I mean, yeah, we'd all like fancy cars uh, and all the things that the rich people have and take for granted. But when it all comes down to it, the main thing is that we have what we need. Um, so I guess if I did have money, I would be a liberal because apparently it's a liberal sentiment to feel like people should have choices. Apparently that's a liberal view that the government shouldn't be able to tell you what you can and cannot do to your own body. Um, Apparently, it is a liberal idea to uh, give people just choices on what their kids can and cannot think or say or do. Me, I'm just like, hey, if you ain't hurting somebody, rave on. If you're not hurting anybody, rave on with what you're doing. If you want to smoke crystal meth, if you're off by yourself and nobody's having to interact with you that doesn't want to, rave on. If you're just gonna stay, long as you ain't fucking with my shit, if you're just fucking yourself up, go ahead. Go right ahead. Fuck yourself up. I am all for people having that right. Now, I can also say, as a Muslim, not devout, I always say not devout. I do not wear the hijab. I did wear it for a year, and I do eat pork because I am American, born and raised in the South, and I love bacon and ham. And I figure God understands. I think anybody who's religious knows that there's going to be certain things that religion shouldn't ask of you. And there are lots of little religious things that don't make sense to other people, like Pentecostals not being able to cut their hair, or they have to wear dresses, or they cannot diet. I know that's one that I've seen. Another is that like they can't watch TV, listen to the radio, various things like that. No jewelry. Those things to some people would seem crazy, And I'm sure that there are plenty of Pentecostal people who do not conform to those particular aspects of the apostolic Pentecostal. Um, Catholics, I mean, even devout Catholics are not. Well, a devout Catholic's kind of a rarity now. They're older. It's easier to be devout when you're older because you're not supposed to have a lot of things anyway. You can say, well, I'm not supposed to have that because it's bad for me. Yes, pork's bad for me. I'm not devout. I don't drink. And I don't look down on any Muslim, I don't I don't look at somebody and say, "Oh, I revere you," because it's easier for somebody who my friend, the first Muslim I met, she was born and raised in Turkey as a Muslim. She's never had bacon, sausage, any of that. So she has no idea what she's missing. I know. I know, and it's damn hard. And since I don't expect everybody around me to conform to my ideology, it gets cooked in my house. So that whole year that I was being devout, or shoot, I think for 2 years I was off of pork. While I was being devout, I was very tempted, and my temptation for that was so much worse than hers because she'd never had it. She just knew that she was. So it's kind of like if you never have ice cream, you don't know what you're missing. So you can't crave it because you've never had it. Well, it's hard to fight those dang pork cravings. So, as a Muslim and being around Muslim people, I know that the only Muslims that are going to be offended by the American flag are terrorists and ignorant people, basically. An American Muslim who's not a terrorist is not offended by the flag. I can guarantee that. And I find it funny that people think that liberals in general would say something like that. I mean, and I guess as a liberal, because I think, you would think that like liberals would say, well, if you're thinking, okay, people have choices, I say like with statues and things that celebrate the Civil War or slavery in some people's minds, it's really a choice of, okay, maybe you don't want to put those on state grounds. Maybe you're offended that it's on state grounds. There's no reason why the statue can't be erected in a separate place like a park. That some committee, some group like lovers of the Civil War, lovers of the Confederacy, some group can't have like a park that they maintain to keep these statues if people are offended enough to have them removed, which I think really goes to having a vote on that in a place. History is always going to be offensive to somebody because the history is full of bigotry or persecution of certain groups. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go, what year, somebody is getting treated like crap. And most of the time, it's for something that they have no control over. That's just human history. So people are always going to be offended by aspects of things. Personally, I don't look at the Civil War as a slavery thing. I look at slavery as a separate issue because that's what I was taught in school, was that slavery was a part of things, but it was not the reason that the Civil War happened. The reason the Civil War happened is that the South didn't want to be part of the North. Now, part of their reasoning was that they didn't want to give up slavery. You know, there was certain things happening between the North and the South financially, and and the North wanted the South to get rid of slaves, but it's not the reason why the Civil War was fought. So I can understand people being, just because a general is on the wrong side, you know, doesn't necessarily make the general a bad guy. Does it make him a bad soldier? No, he's a soldier. What makes somebody a bad soldier is carrying out orders that they can see are bad. Like Custer, you know, did some bad shit. Deciding that, being told, okay, this army that you're a part of, now granted, these guys, they chose to fight for the Confederacy instead of the Union. There were people in the South who joined the Union. This did happen. But there were some people that, you got to look at peer pressure, that you live in the South. If you ever want to be welcome here again, you better fight in our army. You can bet that there was a lot of people that fought for the Confederacy simply because this was their home. And they knew that there would be some backlash. And there was backlash when the Union won, that a lot of families that were, Confederate supporters, they lost everything, And I'm not saying that that was right or wrong. That happened, you know. Soldiers carrying out orders, being told to burn a house. You do what they tell you to. They tell you to burn a house, okay. Now, if your orders are to burn the house, but your orders are not to whether or not to release the people who live in it, that's a personal call when you say, okay, I'm going to let everybody out. So you're not a bad soldier, you're not a bad person, you're just doing what they tell you to do. And at the time, you didn't, you're just a regular soldier. You're not gonna, and even today, you're not really gonna go against orders that are given to you, because there's a lot of bad shit that can happen to you if you do go against orders. So, there's bad people, and then there's people who just did what they were told to do. And so when it comes to tearing down monuments, I don't take a liberal view to that, or at least what I think that the liberals consider liberal. Because to me, liberal is that monument is important to somebody for some reason, and it's part of history. It's old. It's been there for 100 years or whatever. I don't have a problem with something being moved if it's offensive. Because, trust, I get offended when I see church stuff on state property. Because, because God forbid, we have like a thing here in Arkansas, that's like a Christian thing. And anytime the atheists put something up, it gets torn down. And I'm like, well, hey, to me, that pisses me off. Because if the Christian thing can be there, then the atheist thing should be able to be there. Because in my mind, everybody's supposed to have an equal say in the government. So if the Christians get to put up a monument on the state capitol, then the atheists should be able to. The Satanists, the agnostics, the Muslim, the Jewish, everybody, if they want to put forth the money, go right ahead. Because the way I see it, religion isn't supposed to be on the steps of the state capitol. Religion is not supposed to be in the government. That is part of everything, is that religion and government are supposed to be separate. It is even in the Bible that you have religious leaders and you have government leaders, and the two can work together but one cannot take on the mantle of the other. And so when I see something religious up there, the only reason I'm offended is because they're not allowing other religions, because they don't like that religion. You know, they're like, we're conservative. We can't let atheists put stuff up. You know, and it's like, well, hey, you're a government facility. You are a government employee. And a government employee can be Christian. A government employee can conduct themselves in whatever religious behavior they want. But they are supposed to not introduce that into the laws they make or their decisions. You know, if the law says one thing, they're not supposed to say, well, that's against my beliefs. They're supposed to do their job. So I think in a lot of ways I am a liberal, but I don't think that liberal gets the right kind of, because when I think liberal, I think somebody who cares about other people's rights. That's a liberal viewpoint, because there are so many people who want to tell you what's right and wrong. They want to tell you what you can and cannot do because they know what's good for you. You cannot be responsible for your money, your property, your body, your family. No, you can't make those decisions. They want to make them for you. And that group has always been there. There's always been the people who say, we know what's best for you. You can't possibly know how to conduct yourself without us telling you what's right and wrong, what you can and cannot do. And personally, I think that is, in my mind, that's the conservative approach. To say, in my mind, conservative says, I'll let everyone else decide for me. I don't want to cause any waves. I don't want to change anything. Everything's good. Let the powers that be decide for me. In my mind, that is a conservative concept. A liberal concept in my mind is things need to change. And granted, if life was perfect here, then I would take a conservative role in my life. You know, if everything was perfect, if everybody had what they needed, if everybody had a purpose and was fulfilling their purpose and everything ran smoothly and, you know, nobody was starving, there was no violence, you know, if everything was like paradise, you know, then I would definitely be cool with being totally about, you know, everything's going fine. Why change it? Everything's good. Why change it? Let it be. It's fine with me. But the fact is there's so much crap going on in the world that needs to change. And there's so much that's not being changed. And meanwhile, we're bitching about shit we've been bitching about for 30 years. You know, stuff that doesn't even fucking matter. You know, and choosing to focus on bullshit like show me Trump's financials instead of what are we going to do about the guns, gun control? What are we going to do about healthcare? What are we going to do about mental health? What are we going to do about poverty? What are we going to do about unemployment? What are we going to do about retirement? You know, I mean, yeah, I want him to show his tax stuff. I want him to show his financials. But when it comes down to it, I don't fucking give a shit if it means that we're not going to talk about shit that's actually happening to you and me in the world. Things that matter in our daily lives, things that affect us in our daily lives. Which, honestly, the abortion thing does not affect me in my daily life. Not pregnant. And most people who are fighting about it, it's not affecting them at this moment. It only affects the people who are choosing to have or have not. We need to be thinking about shit that's happening right this second. We need to be thinking about the safety of our children, not whether or not certain children are going to come into the world. we need to be thinking about getting people taken care of mentally so that they won't buy guns and kill people. You know, we need to be thinking about the shit that's happening every day. You know, taking care of the people who are out there panhandling all the freaking time. You know, figure out what the hell we need to do to get them off the street, you know, because I mean if they're con artists, take care of it. Get them off the street. If they're actually starving, feed the motherfuckers. Come on. Let's worry about what's happening to living people every freaking day. You know, and I guess that's a liberal point of view. So fuck it. I'm a fucking liberal.